connection available. Good morning.
Hello.
Here we go. We are 1 minute late, 2 minutes late, because we were having really deep conversations about alkaline water and pig farms and Bible versions. But for those of you who don't know, Lacey Queen is with us this morning from Soggy Bottom Farms. We're very excited.
Good to have you.
You with us. Lacey, I wanted to have her on the show because I know she's doing some plumbing projects at Soggy Bottom, getting some new updates, which we'll talk about here shortly. So everybody, 2 weeks from now, she'll be opening back up with some new stuff, which is cool. But we'll give everybody a chance. Already got 5 people. Good morning, Candace and Colton, Corey.
Hey, Colton.
All the C's are with us this morning. Real quick, I'll talk about why we do these videos for anybody who may be new with us. And you might not know either. You're kind of new to this whole concept. But we started these videos because all the time we have people coming in and asking us the same questions over and over again. There's a lot of questions out there. But home ownership and farm ownership, I guess, come with a lot of to-dos, as you know. And with the to-dos, we usually catch those questions. So like, how do I install a faucet? How do I fix this? How do I whatever? If you buy a car, pretty big investment. It comes with an owner's manual. If you buy a phone, it has an owner's manual. A home does not. So that's what we're here for.
You know what else doesn't have a owner's manual?
What's that?
A baby.
Babies do not either. Which
we should do a.
You know, we kind of. I would say we're kind of experts in that field now. There's five in between me and you. I feel like we could at least girls.
Girls, yeah, we got girls.
All
covered.
Girls.
We got that covered.
I have no clue what to do with a little boy.
Don't either.
But little girls, I still don't really know much what to do, but I at least have been in it.
Sometimes I just stand there.
So that's why we do what we do. That's the morning show reason for being here. And we will go ahead and get started with our disclaimer, which we always do this because, as you know, doing your own plumbing or electrical work comes with some risk. So everything that we suggest and recommend are simply that. We want everyone to be educated on how things work, but not how to work on technical things. We always recommend hiring a licensed service professional where risk may be involved. And Burleson Plumbing and Heating and its employees are not responsible for injury, damages, loss related to you, your property, or home. So that's for everybody out there that may think, oh, Lacey went and did this plumbing project. I can surely go do it. And then you flood your home. So that's your risk is now out of it, and ours is too. But we do want to encourage you to hopefully get educated on how to do those things.
Yes.
So, Lacey, Soggy Bottom Farms. If anybody's driven by, there's lots of stuff going on. What all is coming when you open up in 2 weeks?
So we have our restaurant will be opening in 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. We'll be open for lunch in April. We're offering more catering, event catering this year. Our CSA has tripled in size. And then we're still doing livestock on the hoof, bulk produce, and then our farm store.
Tell us about CSA. I know we talked about it before we started the video, but for people out there who don't know what CSA is.
Yeah, so CSA is Community Supported Agriculture. Essentially, it's like buying a share of a crop before it's harvested.
Okay.
It's the consumer's way to get a wholesale cost on organically produced, humanely raised, straight off the farm products. And it's good for the farmers because it's a guaranteed sale. Okay. So it kind of works hand in hand for both people.
That's great.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So with that, Lacey, you had some questions, just stuff to talk about. Not necessarily questions as much as topics, but you had mentioned something about a water heater. What was your question about water heaters?
Yeah, so of course having the restaurant, and when we started it last year, we didn't know we would be as busy as we were.
Yeah.
So, we were prepped for, I don't remember the gallons on it, but anyway, we thought that would be sufficient.
Yeah.
We found out we were not. So we survived the first season.
Okay.
And so this year, we were wondering about pairing maybe a gas, like instant heat, to go with the water heater that's already there.
Okay.
or something to pair with that could be a fallback, or something that we're just using tons and tons and tons of water
Right.
to provide that heat.
Ryan usually quotes people on tankless gas hot water heaters. Knows quite a bit about them. So why don't you tell her like what we usually talk to people about as far as what they need to know?
Yeah. So in terms of tankless tankless water heaters, they are very efficient. And so depending on, I'm assuming probably where you're at, you have propane,
Right.
not natural.
Yes.
And natural would be ideal.
Of course, yeah.
Propane is fine as well. The thing with the tankless, especially in your situation, the nice thing about them is they're only using gas when there's a demand for hot water. So versus just a regular gas water heater or even electric water heater, it's always, anytime the temperature in that tank drops to a certain point, the elements kick on, or if it's gas, burner kicks on, it heats the water back up. So with a tankless, anytime there's demand for hot water, then it fires, heats the hot water for as long as you have gas, and then shuts off when the demand.
Which would be the advantage for you at the restaurant.
Sure. Exactly.
If you had a busy lunch,
Exactly.
or it roll over and you had the longest lunch you'd had, as long as you're running the hot water, it's heating it.
With the efficiency of that,
Mm-hmm.
Using the gas, do you think that solely would be more efficient than having the traditional electric water heater too? Do you think it's better to pair them together?
I think if you were going to make the change to tankless, then you could just go tankless.
Reason being, your tank right now you're not using it. If it's on, even if you're here and it's there, it's heating the water.
Exactly.
There's thermostats in your water heater. Depending on what size it is, it might be 2 thermostats, 2 elements, or just 1.
Right.
I assume you maybe went with a small one, and it might just be 1. So through the day, it's going to lose heat out of the tank, and as soon as it drops below a certain temperature, the thermostat kicks on, and electricity has to heat that water back up. So that's the dilemma with a tank style heater. The upfront cost is much less, which Ryan can talk you through that, but that's why most people do it, is just that upfront cost. But the longevity of cost you have to look at.
Exactly.
In your case, in a restaurant dynamic where, and even the fact that your upfront cost, let's say 2.5 times more, for a tankless versus just a conventional electric heater. But over the span of time that you're going to be open for business, if you factor in the efficiency value of these tankless water heaters, it may take you might recoup that over, let's say, 5 years. But upon the 5-year mark, you actually start getting ahead versus falling behind. And the warranties with tankless water heaters are pretty good. And if you maintain them, keep up with them, then they'll last for a while. And especially if your water is not too acidic, inside of them there's a heat exchanger. So it's like a copper, bunch of squiggles, and so the water's passing through there. So if your water's not super acidic, then that heat exchanger can last, and that's usually what fails over time, is a heat exchanger that has not been properly taken care of each year by descaling it. They make chemicals that you can run through there and take care of scale. People just set it and forget it, and that's usually when you run into issues down
What's
the road.
the warranty on tankless?
Typically, and it depends on the manufacturer, you're looking at somewhere between 7 to 11 years.
Which is more than a tank.
That's right.
Traditional
Exactly.
tanks have a 6-year warranty, so that shows you longevity.
Yeah.
And a lot of that they didn't go 11 beyond with the descaling yearly.
Yeah, if you take care of it, it will last. Some of the downside to a tankless water heater is because they're essentially heating the water as it passes through that heat exchanger. The amount of gallons per minute that they can produce
Slows down.
is less than a conventional tank water heater. So there are various sizes of them that can produce certain gallons per minute. But
So you're saying your water pressure will just decrease?
It can.
Right.
Or you're limited to how much you can actually flow through a particular faucet. Let's say, for instance, you have a 3-compartment sink, and you're used to, when you turn on that hot water, comes out of there. Well, with a tankless water heater, if it can only produce, let's say for instance, 2.5 gallons a minute at the desired temperature, then you might notice a significant, it may take you a little longer to fill up one of your compartments. Now they do make bigger versions of those, and it's all relative to groundwater temperature. So here in the mountains we have, you know, somewhere hovering between 52 to 57 degree water temperature. So if you're wanting to get up to 120, then you've got that much variance between
Right.
55 and 120. So it's having to work very hard.
Right.
So a lot of them will fire at 199,000 BTUs, just boom, like, and that's burning some gas. You
Yeah.
know? But once it achieves that and starts to maintain that, they'll kind of modulate back down to a optimal running. So that's kind of how they work, and that's the only downside to them is you want to make sure that you size them properly. It's not just one of those things you can pick one and just throw it in. You really need to assess everything that you have, the possibility of how many gallons per minute is going to be running in the restaurant at any given time, and then base your sizing on that. Otherwise, you won't be happy with the tankless.
Right, exactly.
Next thing I know, you've been in here a couple times in the past few weeks. Said installing a sink. So the sink, is that going in the tin shed?
Yeah, just
Okay.
3 basins, a basin sink. That's
Okay.
that's pretty elementary. That's just
Which to some it's not. So here's my next topic I was wanting to talk about because I knew that you were doing that. What do you think as far as installing that sink that people need to know to build their confidence to do some light plumbing? Is it more about like the tools, knowing which tools you need to use or have, or any questions that you had up front that you remember, or have you always kind of done some light plumbing like that and kind of know?
that's a hard question.
Yeah.
You know, because
All right. So basically,
well, I just feel like it's an A, B, and C.
Yeah.
You know, if you're installing it, like it just goes from. You know, I don't want to say like common sense because not everybody does that, you know? And
Right.
like, so to some degree, like, you know, I've kind of been around that stuff my whole life.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure Ruth and Mike had you doing things like that from
Yeah.
a very early age. I think for me, knowing, okay, if you don't know what pipes are, what type of pipes, there's your start. So like, if somebody has copper, which is what they used to use in plumbing, running your plumbing supply, could be CPVC, could be PVC, could be
Right.
Quest, and now what you've used is PEX. Trying to figure out what those look like is the first step, I think.
Mhm.
And then knowing what size, which really matters, as you know, and then what tools you need to do the job. So like, I just want people to know, like, if you want to put in a sink or put in a faucet, it's really not that difficult once you get your eyes on it.
Exactly.
If you can take a picture for us, bring it into me and Ryan, and say, oh yeah, that's PEX pipes, so you're just going to need this fitting and this fitting, and it'll go up to your faucet.
Do you think you encourage people to do PEX now versus others?
Yeah, and the reason being the price is lower. And now we have plastic PEX fittings. I don't know if you knew that. We just started
No, I
doing
didn't know.
those.
Yeah.
But we've traditionally done brass, but
Right.
we found there's a lot of acidic water situations around here.
Makes sense.
And a plastic fitting will hold up longer, and it's less expensive. But we rent the tools out, which a lot of people don't know. You can buy a tool now for $50 for the new style ring, which may not make a lot of sense to everybody. But you can buy a tool for about $50 or rent one for $6 a day. So if you've got a project that's 2 or 3 days or less, it's the way to go. So I just want people to know, like, you know, take some pictures, and Lacey can, you can.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Which you are a go-getter, but there's a lot of people out there that I think are they want to know how to do it, they just don't know where to start. So.
And really, that's the best way to learn.
Yeah.
You know, that hands-on.
Yeah.
That hands-on.
And a lot of people, I think, when they first start doing a plumbing project, might come in here and they'll ask Ryan or I, like, okay, I've got to do, I'm putting in a sink, I'm putting in a 3-compartment sink, and they come and they think they have everything. They have a box of stuff, and you try to encourage them to take some extra and bring stuff back if they don't need it. And like, no, this is, I'm pretty sure this is what I need. Well, then you see them at like 10 a.m. They come back in like, I need to get this. You're like, well, if you get this, do you think you might want to get this too?
Absolutely.
I would say on your first project, just be prepared to make like 4 or 5 visits.
Absolutely.
Because it happens every time. Like, you know, you've got supply lines here. It might have been something that you didn't think about because you were just thinking the plumbing side of the drain.
Yeah, one of them was stripped out, and you know,
So, just encouraging people, like if you're doing your project, if you're doing any sort of plumbing or electrical project, HVAC, anything like that, just to be prepared to like make a few trips, the learning curves a little bit more at first, but after that you kind of understand the concepts like you were talking about. It seems like more common knowledge after that.
Yeah.
Any other big things you've had going on you want to talk about?
Well, it was just like we were talking about the PEX, and you know, maybe just the point I was going to make about PVC versus PEX.
Yeah.
We had a situation where we had to replace like a ton of lines, and it was simply just because it was an accident. A valve was left on. Everything was winterized. Somehow water got up in the lines, and it just splintered. And so that's like one point I would make to anybody, like when you were saying using the PEX.
Yeah.
Is because for me that was a huge learning curve.
Yeah.
Because you know the simplicity, if you've got and you're using PVC, you're like, nah, I'm not going to replace that. I'm just going to doctor this one little place.
Right.
And then we went completely to PEX because it was splintered like crazy up there, and I'm like, you know, I'm not. You know, and instead of replacing everything now, you know, I might just have like one little ball valve, you know.
And there's a lot of people that go in their basement. They could go in their basement right now and see like, you know, all this pipe, and they'll have like a section cut out like this with 2 fittings and patched and all over the place. And it happens all the time. People are like, no, I just want to fix this. But you know, after the course of like a year or two, you look and you have like
this much time for this.
Looks like Frankenstein.
You repaired all of it, and it would have, you know, been a lot less money to just go ahead and do everything instead of putting Band-Aids on. Okay, thank you. We have a section of the show that we do called Hey, That's Neat.
Hey, that's neat.
Hey,
That's neat.
We also have another section of our pen sponsor, and we want to thank you for this Pilot G207. This is our Soggy Bottom Farms sponsored our pen for the day, so we're really excited about that.
Oh, you're so welcome. You're so welcome.
I think it also is co-sponsored by Tin Shit. So
yeah.
Okay.
We appreciate the sponsorship. We'll give you your plug. I've got a few things on Hey, That's Neat.
Well, hey, that's neat.
Hey, that is neat.
Look at that thing.
All right, so I think people can see this. Sorry, Lacey. I'll put it back down. This is a water ionizer, which I know you have one at your house.
That's the bomb.
Not this brand, but you know we'll give you grace on that. We started carrying these about a year ago. Lacey has an ionizer that's Kangen brand. If you have ever heard of alkaline water, you've probably heard of Kangen brand. We decided to go with another brand that's called Air Water Life. Very comparable, but also about half the price. So, if you don't know anything about water ionizers, alkaline water is kind of a big deal.
It's a huge deal.
Yeah. What do you know about alkaline water? What do you tell people? Somebody's like,
we would be here for like 3 hours.
The 1 minute overview of alkaline water. Why should people think about it?
Okay, so you look at degenerative disease on the body. And so you look at the pH of the body. So when your body drops below a 6 and you get into the 5s, that's when your risks. It's everything is about pH in your body, your blood, everything. And so the principle of that is no, we can never get our body to a complete alkaline state.
Yeah.
But environmental factors, foods we eat, dairy, meat, all these things are acidic on the body. And so when you counteract that with an alkaline water, you're putting your body almost back at what I call homeostasis, where your body can heal itself from disease. You know, through changing the pHs, you can wash your produce, you can wash your fruit, you can wash your laundry.
Yeah.
You're being so much more environmentally friendly. Yeah. I mean, I could go on for like 20 years about alkaline water.
I installed this same model in my house a year ago. I had city water, and you would assume city water is going to have a balanced pH.
Yeah.
But it comes with a little tester, so I got some water out of the fridge, which already comes through a carbon filter. And so it's filtered. You think, okay, this is good water, which it's decent, but, you know, I tested it, and it's like a 6.
Yeah.
7 is
7
balance.
exactly.
So it was, I'm constantly drinking acidic water.
And then you think about too the fluoride and the other things that are added to city water and the effects that they have on the body, and that machine also removes those.
Right. So it's just something to think about. Like, it is an investment for sure. I know Kangen water is $3,000-$4,000 for a unit. This unit sits on a countertop, which I think Kangen does too. You can attach it directly to your faucet. It's really easy to do that. I piped mine underneath the sink so that I can not have all that coming off the
I look like I have Frankenstein sitting on my camera. Yeah.
So it's real clean. But I do all my drinking water, tea and coffee, because that makes your water acidic, or your drinking acidic. Washing fruits and vegetables, everything, and it definitely does make you feel better.
Well, it oxygenates your body too, which is the big thing too, and and oxygenation will just automatically give you energy. Like, I tell everybody, if they tried oxygenated alkaline water for 3 days and were consistent with it, they would be able to tell a difference in their body function just in 3 days time.
So I wanted to plug this. It's neat. You can come check it out at the counter.
Hey, that's neat.
Hey, that's neat.
That's neat.
But our Air Water Life comes with this nifty water bottle that holds
which is worth the whole purchase.
Yeah.
That's worth the whole purchase.
And it comes with an extra carbon filter, which I've had mine for 6 months and I haven't had to change it yet. So I think it's a 6 to 8 month filter that you're supposed to change those out. So just wanted to give the plug for the Ionizer. Lacey, thank you.
Thank you
for visiting us.
Thank you.
Go check out Tin Shed, Soggy Bottom Farms here in 2 weeks.
Listen, this place, your restaurant, is fantastic. I went there last summer.
Yeah.
Maybe, and it was amazing.
What'd you get?
I got I guess it was like a pork sandwich, barbecue sandwich, with maybe beans.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Thank you.
Yes.
And Brooke and I do the CSA program. So if you want to get more information, contact Lacey. You can
see us.
You can find her on Facebook or give them a call. But you get your meat, produce, dairy, eggs, whatever you need. Pick them up weekly or bi-weekly. So go check Lacey out. It's a great resource for our community to have something like that. So thank you for what you do. Thank you for being here with us.
Thank you guys for all my plumbing questions.
Next week, Ryan and I are both out of town. So unfortunately,
it looks like Kenny's going to be doing the morning show.
How do I turn this phone on?
Kenny and Tim Green. We
may do a Thursday afternoon show, but just we'll let you know mid next week what's going on. The week after that, I'm hoping to have Jeff Harding from Harding Landscaping on. We're going to talk about some waterfall pumps, waterfalls that he makes, landscaping things, and how that relates to plumbing. Awesome. So check out that. Hopefully Jeff will be with us on the 30th. Next week, we may or may not be seeing you.
What we should do is Skype each other and then broadcast that Friday morning.
Where are you going to be?
Winston-Salem.
Winston-Salem? Okay. I was about to say, if you're going to be at the beach or something, wait. Don't necessarily want to Skype you while you're over there, Thanks, everybody, for tuning in, and we will see you next week.